Do most extroverts really succeed just because they talk more? Or do introverts succeed by staying quiet because they're more intelligent? Is success about how much we speak? Or is there a deeper reason most people miss? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wordy Tales. Today's story reveals a habit that silently holds many of us back. You might not even realize it, but this habit could be your biggest obstacle. While listening to this story, we will also learn new English words and sentences that you can use in real life. So stay with us till the end. In a small town lived a boy named David. He was smart, hardworking, and had big dreams, like becoming the top student in class, mastering new skills, and building a bright future. But David had one habit that was quietly creating problems in his life. He talked too much about unnecessary things. Whenever he learned something new, he couldn't keep it to himself. He would tell everyone about his plans, his dreams, his goals, even personal thoughts and feelings. David believed that sharing his plans would keep him motivated. He also enjoyed the praise and admiration he received from friends, parents, and even teachers. But even after saying so many great things, success wasn't coming. In recent exams, his results were average. He couldn't understand what was going wrong. To make things worse, some people started making fun of him. Feeling low, David went to visit his grandfather one weekend. But even there, he couldn't stop worrying. Seeing him quiet and sad, his grandfather asked, "What's the matter, son? Why do you look so down?" David opened up. "I tell everyone about my dreams, but I'm not able to achieve them, and lately I feel like I'm losing interest in them too." His grandfather listened carefully and then said, "David, it's because you share your dreams with everyone. That's why you're losing interest." David was surprised. "Really?" The grandfather nodded and began to tell him a story. Many years ago, in a village, there was a farmer named Thomas. He was poor but hardworking. He had a dream to build a big farm full of crops and one day live a better life. Every day he worked hard in the fields and saved every penny he could. But Thomas had one rule: he never shared his plans with anyone. People would often ask, "Why do you work so hard all the time?" And Thomas would just smile and say, "You'll understand in time." Years passed. Slowly, Thomas bought one small piece of land, then another. He grew crops and earned money. One year, he built a proper farm. The next year, he built a lovely house. Everyone in the village was shocked. They had no idea how he achieved so much. One day, an old friend visited him and asked, "Why didn't you ever share your dreams with anyone?" Thomas smiled and said, "When you talk too much, two things happen. One, people try to discourage you. Two, you waste your energy talking instead of doing. Silence protects your goals. Words are like arrows. Once released, you can't take them back." I wanted my success to speak for me. Hearing this, David began to understand. His grandfather added, "Son, when you talk too much about your dreams, not everyone will be happy for you. Some will try to bring you down. Also, when you talk about your goals, your brain starts to feel like you've already achieved something, so your motivation to work drops." David was silent for a moment. Then he asked, "Grandpa, how can I change myself?" The grandfather smiled. "From today, speak less about your plans and focus more on action. Let your success be your voice. Remember, silence holds a powerful energy." That day changed David. He stopped talking about his plans to others. He studied harder, worked quietly, and avoided unnecessary conversations. Months passed, and David saw a clear change in himself. His confidence grew. He stopped caring about people's opinions, and this time, in the final exam, David ranked first in school. Everyone was amazed. His friends asked, "How did you do it?" David just smiled and remembered his grandfather's words. Stay silent. You can achieve everything. A few years later, David became a successful entrepreneur. His story inspired many. He proved that true success comes from doing, not just talking. The strongest voice is silence. Speak less, work more. Let your success do the talking. Talking less or more depends on personality, and neither is wrong. But always remember, you don't need to share everything with everyone, especially your dreams, goals, and future plans. Keep them to yourself until you've made real progress, because sometimes just talking gives you fake satisfaction, and that satisfaction slows your hard work. Build yourself so strong that your work becomes your language, and your success becomes your answer. Work quietly, and when the time is right, the world will know what you've achieved. If you like the story, give it a like and comment below. That way, more people can enjoy it too. I'll be back soon with another meaningful story. Till then, stay patient, stay grateful, and keep moving forward in life.
Welcome to the deep dive. You know, we often hear that advice, right? To speak your goals into existence. You declare what you want, tell everyone it's supposed to boost accountability, get support. It really feels like standard self-help wisdom these days.
It absolutely does. It's almost taken as gospel in some circles.
But what if that whole approach? What if sometimes it actually backfires? What if talking about your biggest dreams, your grand plans, actually makes it harder to achieve them?
That's a really interesting angle.
Yeah, so today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. We're looking at some insights from a source called The Quiet Path to Success. And this isn't really just about being an introvert or extrovert, is it?
No, not at all. That's what's so fascinating. It seems to be this universal psychological trap, something many of us, might fall into without even noticing.
So we're going to challenge some of those assumptions about setting goals, maybe uncover a different strategy, perhaps quieter, but maybe more effective. Okay, let's unpack this.
Right. And it's not just personality, like you said. It's this surprising psychological effect that can hit anyone trying to reach a goal. It doesn't matter if you're naturally outgoing or more reserved. So our mission today, really, is to explore why maybe silence, rather than shouting from the rooftops, could be your strongest ally.
A secret weapon, almost.
Kind of, yeah. And to really get it, we're going to look at two stories from the source. There's David's dilemma, a bit of a warning, maybe. And then there's Thomas's triumph, which is, well, pretty inspiring. These stories really bring this whole counterintuitive idea to life.
Okay, let's start with David. I think a lot of us might see a bit of ourselves in him.
Very possibly.
He was described as smart, hardworking, full of ambition. And his dreams weren't vague either. They were pretty specific. Like, he wanted to be the top student in his class.
Right, a clear goal.
And he was keen on mastering new skills, maybe learning code or a language, things he thought would, build a really bright future.
Admirable goals, the kind many people set, full of hope.
Exactly. But David had this habit. Almost like a compulsion, maybe. Whenever he got a new idea, learned something cool, or firmed up a plan, he just couldn't keep it quiet.
Right.
He'd tell everyone, his friends, parents, teachers. They all heard about his big plans, his dreams, even just random thoughts he was having.
Okay, so he was an oversharer, basically.
Pretty much. And his thinking behind it seemed logical, at first glance anyway.
How so?
Well, he figured talking about it created accountability, put pressure on himself to follow through.
External motivation makes sense.
Plus, let's face it, the praise felt good. Friends would say, wow, great idea. Parents were proud, teachers commended him.
That positive feedback loop, it can be addictive.
Totally. It felt like progress, like he was speaking it into existence and everyone was cheering him on.
But I sense a but coming.
Yeah, here's the twist. Despite all the talking, all the positive vibes, the success just wasn't happening. It really makes you wonder, right? What went wrong? His exam results. Average. Barely. Not top of the class at all. Ouch. And worse, that initial fire, that passion for his own goals, it started to fade. He felt kind of apathetic.
That disconnect between the talk and the reality.
Exactly. And then, you know how it goes. People started talking, whispering, even teasing him about his big plans that never seemed to happen.
That's tough.
So yeah, he felt pretty down, confused, disheartened. And that's when he finally went to talk to his grandfather, looking for some wisdom.
Right, and if we pause there for a second, David's situation, that urge to share, maybe celebrate a bit too early? or just wanting that validation.
Yeah, it's very human.
Totally.
Hmm.
It's rooted in how we connect with others. So when David poured his heart out to his grandfather, frustrated, losing interest in his own dreams, the grandfather's response was, well, pretty surprising, almost radical, you could say.
What did he say?
He looked at David, apparently with a lot of understanding, not judgment, and just said something like, David, it's because you share your dreams with everyone. That's why you're losing interest.
Wow, that cuts right against the grain, doesn't it?
Completely. We're sort of taught to believe talking about goals helps, manifest it, and all that.
Yeah, put it out there.
So this just throws up a huge question. Why? Why would sharing something you're genuinely passionate about actually reduce that passion or hinder your progress? It really challenges a core belief for many of us.
It really does. And the grandfather knew this was subtle but powerful. So to really drive the point home, he didn't just explain, he told a story.
The power of narrative.
Exactly. A story from the village about a farmer named Thomas, a real contrast to David.
Yeah.
This was years back. Thomas started out poor but incredibly hardworking. His dream, simple but big for him, build a large, successful farm, have a better life.
A classic to your story.
Right. And he worked like crazy, dawn till dusk, saving every single penny.
Okay, the dedication is clear. What's the catch?
The catch was his rule. Thomas had this one strict rule. He never told anyone his plans, his specific goals, kept them totally to himself.
Interesting. So people must have wondered.
Oh, yeah. Villagers saw him working relentlessly. They'd ask Thomas, why work so hard? What are you aiming for? He'd just smile, apparently, this knowing little smile, and say, you'll understand in time. No details, no boasting, nothing. Just kept working.
Kept his cards very close to his chest.
Extremely close. And then years passed. Decades, even. People saw him working his small plot, saving his coins. But no big announcements.
Huh?
Then, slowly, quietly, things started changing. A piece of land next to his bought, then another. Tilled, planted, profits grew, but reinvested silently.
The silent buildup.
Exactly. One day a new barn starts going up, solid, impressive. The next year a beautiful stone house takes shape, much nicer than others in the village.
And the villagers.
Completely stunned, according to the source. Jaws dropped. I saw the results suddenly. But the quiet, steady work behind it, they'd missed it entirely.
So his success literally spoke for itself. No need for words beforehand.
Precisely.
That's fascinating. It's not just being quiet. It's this active discipline, isn't it? Protecting the dream by working in silence.
Yeah, letting the actions be the only broadcast.
The source mentions later on, a friend asked Thomas why. Why keep it all secret? Surely sharing could have helped.
And what was his reasoning?
Thomas apparently said something really insightful. He said, when you talk too much about plans, two bad things tend to happen.
Okay.
One, people try to discourage you, maybe not maliciously, but they raise doubts. And two, you waste energy talking instead of doing.
Waste energy just by talking. How?
Well, think about it. Explaining, justifying, maybe defending your idea. It takes mental effort.
Yeah.
He had this great analogy, too. He said, words are like arrows. Once you shoot them, you can't get them back.
Powerful.
Yeah. He finished by saying, I wanted my success to speak for me, to be the proof. It suggests once you voice a dream, it's out there, vulnerable, and maybe some of that internal drive, that energy just
Dissipates.
like letting the air out of a balloon slowly. Exactly. And the grandfather really broke this down for David, connecting Thomas's story right back to David's problems. He highlighted a few key psychological points.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, discouragement. It's not always haters. Sometimes as well-meaning friends or family, they ask questions, offer advice.
Are you sure that's wise? Have you thought about this?
Precisely. And those little comments can plant seeds of doubt, especially when an idea is still new and fragile. It's like a tiny flame getting blown out by a casual remark.
Right. It erodes your conviction before it's even solid.
Yeah. Second, the energy waste thing. It's literal. Planning out loud, articulating, defending your vision, it all uses cognitive resources.
And mental bandwidth.
Exactly. Energy that could go directly into the doing. Every chat about the plan is energy not spent executing the plan.
Okay, that makes sense. What was the third point?
This is the big one, I think. The
Okay.
grandfather called it fake satisfaction.
Fake satisfaction.
Yeah. He explained it like this. When you talk about your goals, especially if you get praise for them, your brain kind of gets tricked.
Tricked how?
It starts to feel like you've already achieved something just by talking about it and getting that positive feedback.
So the brain prematurely checks the box.
You got it. It short-circuits the actual drive, the need to do the hard work lessons because you've already gotten a little reward, the praise, the feeling of being seen as ambitious.
Wow, that's sneaky.
It is. It's sometimes called symbolic self-completion in psychology. Your brain mistakes the talk, the symbol of achievement, for the real thing.
So it gives you a little dopamine hit just for sharing the intention.
And then subtly dials down the urgency to actually climb the mountain. It's a really powerful, often invisible underminer of our own goals.
That concept of fake satisfaction really clicks. It explains so much, like how often we announce big plans, feel good about it, and then fizzle out.
Exactly. It's almost like the brain says, good job talking about it, you've earned a rest.
Right. So David's hearing all this from his grandfather. It must have been a light bulb moment. What did he ask next?
He was smart, like you said. He immediately asked, Grandpa, I get it now, but how do I change? What should I actually do?
Good question. Practical.
And the grandfather's advice was beautifully simple, but profound. He said, basically, from now on, David, choose to talk less about your plans. Focus much more on the action.
Let the results speak.
Precisely. Let your success be your voice, not your words. And he added this powerful line. Remember, silence holds a powerful energy.
The energy of focus.
Yes, of undistracted effort. And David, to his credit, really listened. He stopped broadcasting his intentions. He turned inward.
So less talking, more doing.
Yep. Studied harder, worked more quietly. He actively avoided those conversations that just drained his energy or diluted his focus.
And the results. Did things actually change for him this time?
Dramatically, according to the source. Months went by. David felt a real shift inside himself.
How so?
His confidence grew, but this time it came from his actions, from knowing he was putting in the work, not from what others said.
Internal validation, not external.
Exactly. He stopped worrying about people's opinions, the gossip, the teasing. His own drive became the main thing.
And academically.
That's the kicker. When the final exam results came out, David ranked first. First in the whole school. Wow. From average to top.
Yeah. Everyone was amazed, asking him, how did you do it? And David, remembering his grandfather, just smiled, echoed Thomas, really. Said something like, stay silent. You can achieve everything.
That's powerful.
And it didn't stop there. Years later, he apparently became a really successful entrepreneur, built his businesses with that same quiet focus.
So his story became kind of legendary.
And an inspiration, yeah. Proof that real lasting success often comes from the doing, not the talking. That maybe silence is the strongest voice. Speak less, work more, let success make the noise.
It's a compelling story. But it does bring up a critical point, doesn't it? Does this mean we should just clam up entirely, never mention our goals to anyone?
Right, that seems a bit extreme, maybe isolating.
And the source actually addresses this. It adds some important nuance. It says, talking less or more depends on personality and the goal itself and who you're talking to. Neither way is like inherently wrong across the board.
Okay, so it's not a rigid rule of total silence.
No, it's more about being strategic, discerning, self-aware. The main takeaway isn't never talk. It's more like you don't need to share everything with everyone.
Especially the fragile stuff.
Exactly. Especially your biggest dreams, your detailed plans, when they're still just forming. The advice is kind of keep them close, nurture them in private until you've made real solid progress.
Why? Remind us again.
Because talking too early can trigger that fake satisfaction. And that feeling, however good it is in the moment, can actually sap your motivation. It slows down the hard work needed. It diminishes the hunger.
It's about protecting that inner fire, that drive.
Perfectly put. Protect the drive. And the source gives this really potent mantra, something that feels very actionable for anyone listening.
Okay, what is it?
Build yourself so strong that your work becomes your language and your success becomes your answer.
I like that. Work is the language. Success is the answer.
Yeah. Work quietly, and when the time is right, the world will know what you've achieved. It really pushes for that internal focus, building strength from within, relying on results, not just announcements.
So, wrapping this up then, what does this all mean for you listening right now? This deep dive into the quiet path to success. It seems to show that maybe the best way to reach our dreams isn't always shouting them out.
Not always broadcasting them.
Instead, maybe it's about cultivating a kind of disciplined silence, protecting our energy, our focus.
Shielding ourselves from discouragement, yeah.
Yeah.
And crucially, avoiding that trap, that fake satisfaction trap that could subtly stop us before we even really start.
It's about letting our actions and eventually our results be the loudest thing, the most convincing statement.
Right. Which leads to maybe one final thought for you to chew on. In this world we live in now, right? Constant pressure to share, build a personal brand, document everything online.
Seeking that external validation.
Exactly. In that world, what might actually happen internally if you decided, consciously, to keep your next big goal completely to yourself?
Just for you initially.
Yeah. What if you just worked on it diligently, quietly, behind the scenes, channeled all that energy inward, protected that little flame, let the results build up until they speak for themselves?
What would that feel like?
Yeah. What would it feel like to truly experience your success as your most compelling voice, instead of just, the echo of your initial words, something to maybe reflect on, perhaps even try out